Hey there guys, Evan here, and I'm going to teach you today how to build a happy birthday card app. So the first thing that you are going to want to do is you're going to want to open up Android Studio. Once you've opened up Android Studio, go ahead and select New Project. And then within New Project, go ahead and select Empty Activity. And then you'll want to name it Happy Birthday or something of the sort, just so you remember it. And then save it somewhere you'll remember it as well, either your desktop or a convenient folder for all of your apps. Alright, and now once you've done that, go ahead and double check that your minimum API is, at this date and time, minimum API is 15, I believe. So just double check, make sure at whatever time you are making your app that you know the minimum API level for Android at that moment. And then once you've done that, go ahead and click Finish. And then it should start loading everything up here for you. Now, once your project is loaded, you're going to want to go to the project pane. If you don't see the project pane, just go ahead. It's right here on the left-hand side. Just go ahead and click on it. And it's going to open up all this for you. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to click on App. We're going to go to Res. And we're going to go to Layout. And double-click on Activity Main.xml, and that will open up this XML document for you right here. Once you have that open, the first thing that we're going to want to take note of is that by default it is using a constraint layout, but we want to use a relative layout. So let's go ahead and change that to a relative layout. Perfect. And also within this text view, you might find that there are some constraint parameters. You can go ahead and get rid of any of those to say app constraint, because we are not using a constraint layout. We're going to be using a relative layout. All right, perfect. And once you've had that finished, our next step is we're going to want to find an image to use for our birthday card app. So it's not just plain old white. You can use an image that you have already, an image you would like to take a picture of, or you can just download something off of Google, do a Google search, find an image to download. That's what I did. I went Google and I just searched for balloons. And I'm going to use this image right here. So you can go ahead, I'm using Windows, so go ahead and right click, save image as. Make sure you name it something simple, either in camel case or separated with underscores. Otherwise, Android Studio will give you some problems. So I named it balloons. You can name it whatever you would like. Just make sure you stick to something simple so you don't run into any problems in Android Studio. So go ahead and save that in a folder. You can find it pretty easily, whether your desktop or you can create another folder. And once you've done that, go ahead and save that image. And now we're going to go back to our project. So now from here, we're going to want to go back down to our Res dropdown. But instead of going to Layout, we're going to go to Drawable. And we're going to right click on Drawable. We're going to Show in Explorer if you're on Windows. So that's going to open up our Drawable Res directory for this particular project. And as you can see, it took us to our draw. You can also, if you don't want to do Show in Explorer, you can also just take the image. So if you want to find your image, and you can either Show in Explorer and paste your image in the drawable in the Explorer, or you can just copy that image and you can go to your drawable within your project, right click, and you can just paste it. It's going to ask you, you're just going to click OK. All right, and now you can see we now have our image right here in our drawable folder. Excellent. So then the next thing that we're going to want to do is we want to get that image onto our app screen. So let's go ahead and add an image view within our relative layout. And let's do match parent for the width, wrap content for the height. And then next we're going to want to add our drawable image. So let's do Android source. And then we're going to want to do @drawable. And the name of your image in your drawable. So mine is drawable balloons. Perfect. So now we've got our image on there, but it's not quite fitting the whole screen, which could be a problem. So we can fix that. We have quite a few options. What we can do is we can do Android scale type, and we can do center crop. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, we have our image filling the entire screen, top to bottom, left to right, and that's exactly what we want. Perfect. So now we've got our image in our drawable and on our app. Perfect. So then the next thing we want to do is we have our little text view up here, our Hello World text view that we started out with. And let's go ahead and change Hello World to Happy Birthday. And let's go ahead and add some padding to that so it's not squished up against the side so much. We can use 16 dips of padding. And as you can see, padding adds space all around it. So we're 16 dips in padding all the way around this guy. And let's go ahead and make the text size just a little bit bigger so it's easier to read for our friends that we send this to. So what we can do is Android text size. And let's go ahead and make it 24 SP. Now remember, when you are defining dimensions, padding, margin, width and height of images, such like that, or of views, you're going to want to use DP for your size, but when you're going to use, so when you want to change the size of your text, you want to use SP for your text. So DP for your dimensions, text size is always going to be SP. All right. So that guy's looking pretty snazzy. We've got him a little bit bigger, 16 dips of padding on each side. Says happy birthday just like we like. But we don't know who to. So why don't we go ahead and add another text view? As a matter of fact, we can just copy and paste this one. And let's add that guy right below that text view. Excellent. And now we have two text views. You may not be able to see it because they're overlapping at this point, but let's go ahead and change the text here to say something different so we can see the difference, the contrast. So I'm going to put, my birthday's coming up, so I'm going to be a little selfish and put it to me. You can put it to whoever you would like. So now, as you can see, we have both our text views. They both say different things, but they're overlapping and we can't quite read what they say. How can we fix that? Well, in relative layout, we can always choose to align our views according to other views or align them with the parent. And what do I mean by that? I'll show you. So, with this guy, since we don't want him overlapping, let's go ahead and give some contrast. Let's try to get him on the bottom right-hand corner to contrast the top left of the happy birthday. So let's go ahead and do Android align parent right. And let's make that true. All right, already looking better. We can read both of them, but I want to take up a little more of my screen space with all my stuff so I don't just have the text crammed up there and then an image and nothing on the bottom. You can set it up however you would like. I'm just going to make this a little more contrast to the other text view by making it align parent bottom and make that true as well. All right, and now if I just go over here, we can see. All right, so we have happy birthday in the top left, and now we have to Evan in the bottom right. Excellent. We've got our image view back here, and we're looking pretty good. Now, one last thing we want to do before we call this a finished product is we want to make sure we run it on our device. You can use an emulator in Android Studio if you would like, but I highly recommend using a device just for some good real-time, real-world practice. Using it on devices just the more sensible way to go about it, just to make sure that your app does actually work on a device and not just on your program. So once you have all of your text views, your image views, and you have it looking the way you want, let's go ahead and go up here and we can run it. And then let's go ahead and run it, and you just want to double check and make sure you run it on your device. Alright, and while that builds real quick, here I'll show you guys. As soon as it starts up here, I apologize. Alright, and our build is running. Alright, and then let's see here. I'll show you guys. I've got it up and running on my device here. So let me just... Alright, and... Alright, excellent. And it looks like we have it up and running on our devices. Perfect. Good job, guys. So once again, that is how you build a simple birthday card app for you, like me, or for anybody else that you want. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and I wish you all the best of luck and success with your future projects. Thank you guys again.